Hello, my name is Lauren Fritsch, and today I am going to share with you my approach to gentle sales and marketing, or why I'm committed to using trauma-informed tools in my own business and then teaching those same tools to other rebels and mystics out there. So if you are unfamiliar with me, just a quick backstory. I've been in business since 2004. I've also experienced my share of hardship. And having been a consultant to big companies and small over the past 17 years, I have created my own ways of achieving quote unquote success. And in the same 17 years, I've also recovered successfully from an eating disorder in 2002 and healed both PTSD and complex PTSD as an adult. So my experience comes from being in business and learning all of the conventional ways of achieving goals, and then from architecting my own healing path in each of those crises, and realizing that a lot of the things that help one heal are at odds with the things that help one be quote unquote successful in our modern day world, especially if you are an entrepreneur or small business owner. And in this video, I want to share with you my perspective on what gentle sales and marketing mean and why I'm committed to using those. And most of you, if you do know me, know that I don't usually use notes, but I have notes today. And it's because I want to make sure that I hit some certain points. And first of all is my promise to you is that I will do my best to market in a trauma-informed way. And some people might even say, what does trauma-informed even mean? And I would like to define that here. Trauma-informed means that I am going to do certain things and not do certain things that perhaps you have grown so used to, you don't even notice. So let me go with examples of what I'm going to promise to do and not to do. And let's see if that can build a bigger picture of what trauma-informed really means. And then at its baseline, know that my goal is not to trigger a trauma response in my buyer or in a potential buyer. So if that is the overarching umbrella, my goal is not to activate your central nervous system into a fight, flight, fawn, or freeze response. If those words are new for you, I'll do just a little bit of definition. So your central nervous system, I'm talking about the part that activates with adrenaline and cortisol if you feel stress, right? And sometimes you can have a healthy stress response. That's what happens perhaps when you're performing and you get psyched and you can become your performance alter ego. And then there's the stress response that is less than ideal. And that's when your central nervous system gets activated and you go into one of 4 different coping mechanisms. So fight is what it sounds like: fight, anger, flight, run away, freeze, stop, and fawn is seek to make everything better. Okay. And we all use usually 1 or 2 dominant coping mechanisms when we do get stressed. And it doesn't have to be to the point of pathological or needing to work on it necessarily. But the idea is that if we're healthy, we can respond in an appropriate manner to a stress signal. And what happens in a lot of sales and marketing, especially online these days, is the marketers are actually trained and training you to respond in a conditioned and pathological negative stress response. They want you to do something very specific. And so they will purposefully push the buttons, pull the strings in order to get you to one of those habitual responses. And if we are coming from a place of wanting to operate in consciousness and wanting to make active choices and be active players in our lives, we don't want to come from a place of habitual response. We don't want to come up from a place of default. We don't want to come from a place of dysfunction. Right? We want to actively choose the response that is most appropriate for each situation. And unfortunately, our modern day marketing and sales tropes have trained us, conditioned us to turn our central nervous system's natural responses to stress on ourselves in order to elicit a response that is beneficial to the marketer or the salesperson. That, my friends, is real shitty and should not be done. And that is why I'm committed to doing my best to provide sales and marketing that is trauma informed and does not activate one of those 4F responses: fight, flight, fawn, freeze. And so I want to expand on that today. One of the things that you'll notice that I do is take breaths. And if you have watched any videos on YouTube, you know, especially sales videos, marketing videos, people who are trying to flog a product, which I am, like, I'm in business, I have stuff to sell. Space is not something that you get a lot of. You will notice that I take breaths and that I give myself space. I also similarly want you to take breaths, and I want to give you space. So if I pause during the course of this conversation, then I want you to take that as an opportunity to check in, to breathe out. I love breathing out. And see if this is still vibing with you, if it's still in alignment with you. Because that's one of the things that I see in sales and marketing and social media. So much of it is so relentless that it doesn't even give you a chance to check in. So when there is a pause, use that as an opportunity to just reassess, to realign, right? Shrug those shoulders down. I'm here. I'm good. I want to be calm. I want to be relaxed. I don't want to be yelling at the camera. Good grief. And I want to share with you in a gentle way with easy pacing the information that I have for you today. So, you notice that I said, I promise to do my best. That's the first thing. A lot of internet marketers make promises that they cannot necessarily keep. And so while I make a promise, I promise I will do my best. I am going to mess up. I am setting the expectation right now. I may say or do something or put something out there that triggers a trauma response in someone. That is inevitable. It is going to happen. But I promise to do my best. I'm going to give you an example. I have a member site where people can log in to get the information they need for one of my workshops. And someone emailed me and said, hey, you know what? This member site has like a little pop-up message every time I log in that says like, pop the champagne. And this person said, you know what? I'm in recovery. I'm a recovering alcoholic. And that's really hard for me. And I said, I got you. I'm going to see if I can change that. It turns out that I can. And I'm actually buying the concierge hours with that particular member platform so that they can help me do a lot of different things on the back end, including change that message. And, you know, I drink on occasion, and I also understand how normalized our society has become, how we just treat drinking as a matter of course. And for a lot of people, that can be really hard. So I thought, here's an easy way that I can respond to this person's request. It requires very little from me other than a little bit of money, you know, for whatever period of time it will take for the concierge to make that change. And I can have a message that is on brand for me and customized and won't trigger someone else's trauma. Now you might be thinking, wow, like everything we say or do could be construed as a trigger, right? And I want you to balance that concern with, it's all about context, right? And it's all about not intention, because you know, that old saying about intentions, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's really not about intention. It's about how it lands. And if you're doing your best to land with people softly and gently and as an invitation, then you're doing your best. And that's the best you can do. So that's what I promise to do. I promise to do my best to provide trauma-informed products and services, as well as marketing and sales, because I think that that is really essential to model in this internet marketing world. The next piece is a corollary to that, right? Which is I promise to do what I say I will do. And that's another thing that happens is a lot of people sell products and services they haven't even created yet. And I'm not against that in theory, but I've bought products and services that then haven't been delivered to me on several occasions, sometimes for a little money, and that is annoying, and sometimes for a lot of money. That's really annoying. And I think it's really vital that we as business owners do what we say we will do. It's Dizzy Wizzy. I forget. And there's like a way to say the acronym. Anyway, it's important to me. And sometimes, again, I mess up, right? I forget, or like something weird happens with the tech or whatever. But in general, that's where I'm coming from. It's coming from a place of I promise to do what I say I'm going to do. And that's really important to me. I would never create something and then not deliver on it. In fact, that reminds me, we have a workbook that went missing in the US Postal Service, and we need to get it to the right person. I have 2 workbooks that need to go to someone. Some other examples of what I mean by trauma-informed marketing and sales. You will never see me have a false deadline or false scarcity. What does that mean? Well, the only reason I would have a deadline for participating in a particular program or buying a particular product is if there's an actual physical reason for that deadline. So let's say it's a live workshop, then you better sign up before it starts, right? Or else you're not going to be able to participate live. That is not a false deadline. That's a real deadline. Okay. So I will have real deadlines, but not fake ones. There won't be like cart opening and cart closing. I understand that a lot of people with incredible integrity who I look up to use that as a concept. For me, that does not work. And for the people I serve, that does not fit my litmus test, my baseline for trauma-informed. Why is that? Because deadlines and scarcity create in us a stress response, and it can give you unnecessary pressure that demands that you make a decision. And for anybody who's come from a place of trauma in her life, you know that additional pressure is not helpful. It just sticks a finger in the wound and swirls it around. It doesn't feel good. And we don't need that. We don't need that in order to get people to buy. I believe enough in my programs that I don't need to add a trigger, if you will. It's the same word, right? A trigger for like a PTSD trigger is the same for marketing. Ew. We don't need that. We don't need that. My work speaks for itself. My sales page should also speak for itself, but my work should speak for itself. And I don't think that I need to have a false deadline or false scarcity. Now, thinking about scarcity, this is an interesting conversation, because if it's an online program, like you can take as many people as can be. And there are some people like only 20 spots. Like, are they even telling the truth? I don't know. However, if it's something that's more high touch, or in our case, we have a launch coming up and it's for Joy Money Matrix, and we have boxes. There's actually one right here. Boop. And our printing takes a long time. It's like a month or longer lead time. So we'll have deadlines basically, because if you want to get in, we only have X number of boxes in stock right now, so that you can get your supplies in time for one of the live event components, right? So that is a real deadline and a real limit on the number of seats that we can sell because of the lead time needed for some of our printing. And we will probably do another bulk order, but it takes a long time. So we have to be patient. That said, my intention is also not to activate that pressure for people. I want you to feel that you are ready at the time that suits you. It's not about me, to experience what I have to offer. And I talk a lot about readiness in some videos on my Facebook page. And readiness is really about your internal capacity to take in the information, and then the external circumstances, so the timing. So we talk about readiness equals ripeness, your internal circumstances, plus timing, which is external. And when those two combine to be the right timing and the right ripeness, then you're ready, right? So I want you to be in the driver's seat. I want you to be able to discern when you are ready to experience whatever it is I have to offer. And one of the ways that I'll be doing that in the future is having almost all of my products and services on demand, which means you can start to engage when you feel ready. And that is really exciting to me. It's also a little bit scary because I've been conditioned by a lot of these marketing gurus that I have to do things in a certain way. And I'm saying, I trust myself. I trust the market. I trust my marketing. And guess what? I trust my customer enough to decide when is the right time to come and join me for Ritual and Reward. When is the right time to come and join me for Joy Money Matrix? When is the right time to become a Joy Money Matrix facilitator? Whatever it is. And, I think that's the first time I've even articulated it that way to myself. And it feels so soothing. It feels so good. I'm gonna itch my nose to say that and to feel it in my bones that it's about trust. So that's one way that that I will practice trauma-informed marketing and sales. The next one is so interesting, and I could do an entire video about it, but it's about pain points. And if you've ever taken any copywriting class, sales class in your entire life, then you know about pain points. And I even did a whole mastermind where the people who were hosting the mastermind basically wanted us to dig into our pain points and turn that into our market and our offer. And I have a whole funny story about it, but I'll tell you that another time. Anyway, pain points in the past have been exploited by people in marketing and sales to make the potential customer feel so bad about wherever it is that they are, their before picture, that they will buy and throw down the money for whatever is on offer to get the after picture. You can probably guess why I don't like that. That is worth a video in and of itself as well. And I understand that we want people to know that there is a change that will take place. However, I refuse to make pain point focused marketing and sales part of what I do. I want instead to give you a yummy invitation that feels so compelling and delightful that you want to say yes. I want to spend almost no time activating your limbic system around negative loops of, I'm not good enough. What if I never do this? I can't do this on my own. What if I stay in my current state forever? All of those components are what happens when a marketer activates your pain points. It is not good. It doesn't feel good. You feel like crap. And like I said, I have no intention of doing that. And I don't want that to be a cornerstone of my marketing. And it certainly isn't part of my business tools. And I could go into a lot more depth and give you some specific examples, but I'm not going to do that other than just to say, you know what? Here's what I believe. I believe that you, without my product or service, you have what you need to fully become who you want to be, because guess what? You already are. Yeah. If you want to add something to zhuzh up your amazing brilliance, what you're already doing super well because you're here, because you're existing, if you want to add something and zhuzh, then come talk to me. Come take my invitation, right? Join me. But I don't believe that you need my thing in order to be who you already are. Maybe I'll sell less. Maybe I'll make less money. I don't care. I want you to know that that is fundamentally essential to my belief system. And I am not here to tell you or convince you that, oh, what could happen if you don't say yes to this invitation? Bullshit. If you feel ready, and if you want to add something to what you're already doing, then welcome. So that's one way that I am committed to not digging around in pain points. I don't ever want to come from that perspective. The next one is I'm committed to no NLP nonsense. Do you know what that means? I mean, I don't even really know what NLP is, because I've taken programs with Tony Robbins and whatever, and I know people who are like NLP practitioners, but I don't know. Let's just talk about it. One of the like most common NLP tropes is get the person to say yes to you multiple times, responding to other questions, so that then when you ask for the sale, they're more primed to say yes. What the what? Yeah, people do that. Yeah, they even do it in their copywriting. They go, how does that sound? Good? And you're like, yeah. And then what about da 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 da? Does that sound like you? Yeah. And how about blah 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 blah? Yeah. Now, do you want to buy my shit? Yeah. It's really weird. Okay. That is not cool. That's not how I want to treat someone who I respect. That's not how I want to build trust. Like, I mean, ooh, it's kind of like back in the day when people were obsessed with the pickup artist, like that concept, and like you would go and you would insult girls because if you insulted them, they would want you more. Ugh, that's NLP, right? This is the same. It's the same. It comes from the same background, like manipulation of people. I don't want to manipulate anybody to come and give me money. I want you to want to give me money of your own accord. Like, I don't want to manipulate anybody. So there will be no NLP nonsense. And I think the NLP stuff has gotten way out of hand, and it can be helpful in a group setting to jazz up, like if you're speaking and stuff. But when it comes to sales and marketing, like I'm a big fat no. No on it. Okay, what else? One of the other things that I see frequently in this whole salesy markety space is that people spend a ton of time and money and effort creating gorgeous graphics and amazing copywriting, and they have bought all the technologies to put it all together, and the actual product content is terrible. To quote Charles Barkley, it's terrible. He's a basketball player, if you don't know. I spent like the 90s watching basketball VHS tapes, so with my brothers. I commit to providing a top-notch customer experience, and I should, because I have a whole body of work around customer experience. But beyond that, I want people to feel taken care of, and it's hard. You have to think about a lot of tiny details and make sure that everything is firing so that your people are taken care of. You have to invest so that your people are taken care of. You have to invest so that your intellectual property and how it's delivered are very top notch. And I will say this, I know that my IP is like head and shoulders above almost anything out there because I've been around the block, right? I know that. Where I have struggled in the past is maintaining a consistency of delivery and a consistency of customer care. And that struggle has led me to create systems that make sure that nothing and no one can fall through the cracks, and that they're very clear paths for people to take so that they can get the results that my products and services offer. And it's really important to me. And I've learned a lot, specifically from someone who I consider a mentor, from Bushra Azar, who's deeply committed to the success and the implementation of her customers. And so over the next little bit, I'll be implementing some of her strategies to make sure that my customers implement. That said, there is a caveat. When we come from a trauma-informed place, I'm not going to be hitting people over the head or requiring them to hit a certain timeline. Why? Because everyone has their own perfect timing. And I, as the business owner, need to be okay with allowing the unfolding of my customers and their journey in their own timing. So if you can't do the work in the timing that I have put out there, guess what? That's perfect. I believe in your perfect timing. So, and that's part and parcel of making sure that they have a really good customer experience and they're taken care of, even if their timing doesn't jive with what I had put forth. And that's part of what I say as meeting you where you are. And I want my products and services, my marketing, my sales process to meet you where you are when you need it. And I think I'll be able to get better at that, but that's certainly fundamental to a trauma-informed business model. What else? You know what? Email marketing will be gentle and chill. So, and again, I have, Bushra is one of those people. She sends a lot of emails. A lot of people send a lot of emails. It's not a judgment on that. It's okay to send a lot of emails, especially if it's awesome content. What I don't like is getting hit with a bunch of emails that are really just about action triggers. Okay. And so one of the things that I probably err on the side of too few is I send probably too few emails, but I do that because I don't want to be a barrage on people. I don't want to just like fire hose you. And I want to be there when you need me. And I want to make sure that when you receive something from me, you know that it's going to be special. And so that's what I'm training my list for. You know that it's going to be special, or you know that it's going to be an invitation to spend time with me. That's basically the two reasons that I'll send emails. What else? Oh, here's another one. This is really important. It's a super buzzword. It is called healthy boundaries. And what I mean by this is I will engage only as much as I feel capable of in doing in a healthy way. And that means that if someone asks, even if they're a customer, if they make a request that I can't fulfill, it's just like, oh, no, thank you. And I don't need to expand on that. I don't need to give a reason. I don't need to defend it. I can just say, no. And there's power in that, right? And there's power in saying, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Or for example, someone emailed me like over the weekend of Easter. And then my birthday was on the Monday, and I did not email that person back for 3 days. And when I did, it was on a business day, and I was like, hey, what's up? Here's your answers. And I don't have to feel any which way about that. It's just when I am able to respond, that's when I'm going to respond. And I think that's, it's good to have a sense of your no's and being comfortable enough just to drop the no and go as a business owner, also as a mom. That's a hard one to learn. Drop the no and go. Oh, golly. I'm going to go to my next page because I've got a lot here. Something I learned, there's a lovely woman called Anna. She's needleandhook.co.uk, I believe. Anna delivered a program that was 4 lessons, and the lesson was delivered on a Sunday, and we basically had 2 weeks to process each lesson. And I told her, I was like, I really appreciated that pacing, and I learned from that because it felt like it gave us space to read, absorb, practice, titrate, do what we needed to do in order to experience that work. And I think one of the things that I have tended to do, and certainly in other programs and groups and stuff, is that there's just a relentless barrage of information. And that's something that over time I'm going to dial in more clearly, because I think that sometimes we're primed and we're ready to go and we can hit that pacing. But the watchwords that I have for my trauma-informed business tools and growth are all around gentle, spacious, easeful, flowing, and of course the word joyful, right? Joyful and sustainable, because if it's not sustainable, then our spirits and our physical bodies suffer, as well as the earth. So we have collectively in our, online marketing space, we've become conditioned to accept these approaches that trigger our response, trigger our trauma response, trigger our central nervous system to activate. And so these approaches exploit our vulnerabilities, they exploit our insecurities, they exploit our fear. And what I am doing with Joy Money Matrix, with Ritual and Reward, with pretty much anything I want to put out, is I want to provide an alternative to that approach. I want to provide an alternative to the relentless hustle. I want to provide an alternative to fear-based marketing and pressure sales tactics. And I want to also model that and offer that to you, because we can all say, I don't have to market like that. I can do it differently, and I can feel so different in the process and build, in fact, a different relationship with our customers as a result. So that is what I mean when I talk about trauma-informed marketing. It's been a delight to be on with you today. I hope that you resonated with this, and if so, then you can come and hang out with me. I have 2 websites that you can check out. One is joymoneymatrix.com, and the other one is laurenfritsch.com. And, the huge Instagram, if that's your jam. This puppy is on YouTube, and if YouTube is your thing, you can like and subscribe, and I would love that, because I plan to be doing more YouTube in the future. Yay, back on my YouTube game. I actually really like it as a platform. And there will be more. You will hear more from me, but not so much that you feel like, oh my gosh, that girl's in my face all the time. So come along this journey with me. I would love to have you. And if you have any questions, thoughts, pop them in the comments below, and I will see you soon. Peace.